You should tell me a story.
I have lots of stories, but yeah, a lot of really silly stories when I think about it.
Silly's good.
Yeah. I always remember when Grandpa and I went to Rochester. He went to a convention. I went along with him. And when he and his friend left the breakfast, I was on my own. They went to or I had breakfast with them, and then they went to meetings. So I had never been there before, and we were staying in a very nice hotel that had all these shops underneath the hotel. So I started wandering around looking at all the things in the shops, but at that time I was just getting diabetes, or aware that I had diabetes. I got so thirsty and I wanted to go to my room, and drink a lot of water. So I got in an elevator and I pressed the 9th floor, and I went up. It only went up as far as the 7th floor, and the elevator door opened, and there was a woman sitting at a card table in front of the elevator, and she said, "You don't belong here. You don't belong here." And there was a guy in the elevator with me. He looked like he was from Saudi Arabia, and all the doors on that floor were open, and there were people who looked like they were from Saudi Arabia, children running over the halls, and women going back and forth in their nightgowns and or their robes and things. And I thought, this is really strange. And so the guy said, "Well, put your key in to go to the 9th floor." And it didn't work. He said, "Well, mine will." So he put the key in, and it took me up to the 9th floor, and I got out and I went to my room. I think it was 911 or something. And I tried my key in the door, and it wouldn't work in the door. So I went to housekeeping, and I said, "My key doesn't open my door." And so a woman came with me, and so she opened the door for me, and she just turned her back and went back to what she was doing. And I went in the room, and there were other people's clothes all over and other people's luggage all over, and I knew it wasn't my room. And I immediately got out of that room and shut the door. I had a horrified look on my face, and a couple was walking down the hall right there. And I said, "I don't know what to think about this. Look at this, is my room number. Look up there. And this is not my room. That housekeeping let me in." And the woman looked at my key and she said, "Well, really, you belong across the street at the Kaler." And I wasn't aware that these tunnels were all under these hotels, and I had gotten lost in these shops down below in the basement area underground, and didn't realize that that elevator took me to a different hotel. That was really, I didn't want to tell Grandpa about that because I was so embarrassed. And I know then later when I joked about it, and I say it now, that woman probably turned to her husband and said, "That woman must be here to be studied for Alzheimer's." Oh, I think sometimes though, when you're having all sorts of highs and lows with your blood sugars and you haven't regulated them, you're not thinking clearly either. Oh, I wasn't aware though that these underground shops, connected with all these different hotels in that area. And that's a kind of embarrassing moment, but I laugh about it now, but at the time it was upsetting that I was not more aware of things. And I always think about, well, the fact that those people were concerned that I was on their floor, and I certainly didn't belong on the floor, because that floor, I'm sure, was reserved for all these people from Saudi Arabia. They were probably some royalty from Saudi Arabia. They rent the whole floor for their relatives, and everybody comes, And he thought, here I am blonde, They thought, what is that woman doing in the elevators? And I'm supposed to get up here. The reason I got up is I had the other guy with me in the hotel. He probably put his key, and I just pressed the button. The door opened, and I got in there. And yeah, I've had quite a few of those kind of experiences in life when I think about it.